Good morning, mi gente. It's 9 a.m. I know, gay people and an LGBTQ plus Kiki at 9 in the freaking morning. You know what? That's why I'm still in bed. Me, I'm FayWhat? And I'm going to help get your week started off right. We have lots of fun things to talk about. It's going to be a great week.
Gay boys, hashtag that girl. Sunbeams, drag queens, L-word. Is that girl the girl of all our dreams? She's everything that every girl should be. Aqua, South Beach, hashtag that girl. Pride-filled, tea-dance, Wilton. Is that girl Latina, but she's universal too. If you find a girl to love, only one girl to love, then she'll be that girl too. That girl.
Presented by Hotspots Magazine, happening on television network, the FayWhat Show is America's first LGBTQ plus morning show. And I'm broadcasting live and available on demand on your favorite streaming channels. I'm also on demand right now if you want to, all right? Well, I am on demand right now. Look, we're together. It's Monday, August 19th, 2024. Welcome to the FayWhat Show. Let's kiki about what's going on in the LGBTQ plus community. I have a sidekick joining me in bed for some conversation. What did you think I was talking about? Our first segment is called Gay Boys Sleep Late, and this morning I'm joined by my gay guy pal, Dr. Edward Summers. He's the ED of Pridelines, Miami's LGBTQ Community Center. He served as a primary therapist and program director at I-Kare Treatment Center in West Palm Beach. He was also the founder and CEO of the New York-based nonprofit, the Thinkubator. Good morning, Edward, and welcome back to my bed. How are you, honey?
Good. Thanks, Faye. It's good to see you, although I feel like it was just this weekend that I saw you.
I know! We've had so much fun. We've had so much fun. We really are a blessed group of people here in South Florida. We always got something fun going on. But even more important than any of the fun events and the galas and all that we get to go to, you had your son here. Right?
Yes.
He's still here.
Oh my God,
he's still here.
He's still here.
God, because back home, like where we're from, in New York and New Jersey, school doesn't start till like September, right? Like the first week, second week of September. Here, school starts in August, you know? So all the kids are about to go back to school already. And your kid is still here enjoying the sun, you know?
Enjoying the sun, enjoying the pool, enjoying good food, enjoying like making me spend a lot of darn money.
Yeah.
But you know what? He's worth it. You know, him and my nephew's been down too, and it's been, I don't know, it's just been so great to have him. It's a reminder of like the balance that we need in our life is what he reminded me of. And the fact that like it's important to work and to do all the great stuff, but it's important to take time for family, loved ones, and yourself. And so it's been so great having him here.
What fun stuff have you done? Did they want to go to Disney or anything like that?
Disney,
God,
Busch Gardens.
Oh, that's another expensive one.
The beach. But more importantly, he just wanted shopping. My son is like a little fashion dude, and he just loves shopping. He just loves spending money. But we've gone all over Florida. We've seen family. We've gone even up to Georgia to see my great aunt. So we've done a lot of just different things. But it's been a mixture of like theme parks, lots of fun, lots of beaches, lots of pool time, and family time as well.
Yeah, so that's wonderful. Your son, I mean, him being your son, he probably has some major swag.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Listen,
like,
he's the one that like he brings it all to me. He's like, Dad, I'm gonna dress you today. Like,
what?
Oh yeah, he's got some style.
I love it. I love it, and I love that you share pictures of him. And you know, like some people are just always weird about like sharing the pictures of their child. You know, and you're like, look, he's here.
No, he's here. He's having like, it's been a blessing. Like it's been a good time.
And he saw your world. He's seen your world. He's seen Pridelines, the people who work for you, the things that you have your hands in right now trying to accomplish.
It's, you know what's crazy, and this is why I love him too, is that a week before the gala, we actually had like a prequel where we had just like a little taste of what the gala is gonna be about. And so I gave a little talk, and then he came up and gave a talk. Like he just did it on his own. I didn't ask. Like it was spontaneous. What I loved most about what he did was he highlighted three of my colleagues who we worked together, who like has just like he's observed them and he like follows them around when he was at work with them, and he highlighted them. He said Nicole, called out
Nicole's
Nicole.
amazing.
He called out my colleague Adriana and Sabrina. He said, "Can you guys come up here?" And he says, "I just want to tell you I love you. Thanks for all that you do for Pridelines."
Oh my
And I was like, I'm like, "Who are you, dude?"
right? Like, you
But
taking my job?
I know,
in 20 years? Like, what's going on?
Literally, he did the job that I didn't do it because I didn't like those three, and he did it. He came at the end and filled it. He's just like, "Give me the mic, let me talk." It was kind of crazy,
That's
and
amazing.
everybody just cheered him on. And literally afterwards, everybody said, "That melted my heart." Literally, people were like, "Wow!" They said, "Did you plan this?" I was like, "No, that was not planned. He just did this on his own. He wanted to recognize three people
That's
that he
amazing.
spent the whole summer with, just working with."
Again, but
And
that comes from you, honey.
I guess
It does. Come on, take
I'll take a
it.
little credit.
Take it. Take
Just
the
a little
credit.
bit.
That comes
Yeah.
from you. That
No, he's
swag
great.
comes from you, you know?
He's great.
Like, come on, he didn't even go long-winded or anything, right?
No,
He
right,
was on
right.
point. He was on point.
Right to the point. Right to the point.
All
It
right.
was great.
Well, let's get into the Kikis for today, all right? First, with President Joe Biden stepping aside, Vice President Kamala Harris is in the spotlight, and many LGBTQ plus folks are expressing concerns about her stance on their rights, on our rights. The good news, Harris has a solid track record of LGBTQ advocacy, and we're going to review it right now, me and Edward, okay? So her journey began in 2003 as San Francisco's district attorney and continued as she championed marriage equality. However, her past as a prosecutor raised concerns, especially regarding trans issues and sex work. Despite these bumps, Harris' recent actions, show a clear shift towards progressive policies. The community remains watchful but hopeful. Kamala Harris on LGBTQ, what are we all talking about? What do you think about this?
Listen, I remember her in 2004. So back then, I had just done my undergrad district thesis, basically on gay marriage. Actually, the topic was hot in 2003, 2004, and we had mayors all around the country just performing gay marriages illegally, but they were doing it because they felt like it was the right thing to do. Harris was one of the first ones, right when it became legal, that she just, called in to the county clerk and said, "Start performing those marriages."
And it was midnight or something,
yeah, it
right?
was late. And then she performed a marriage herself. So I think there's no question that she is the pro-equality candidate. She is for our community. She stood by. The tell of a candidate is when they do things without people watching. Mm-hmm. And she's done things without people watching.
Yeah.
Because throughout her career, she wasn't always, she had aspirations of running for higher office, but she wasn't always running for higher office.
Yeah.
But she showed up at the parades. She showed up at the rallies and the marches, and she's been there for our community. And so it's very telling a person's heart when they do that, when the camera is really not rolling. And so she's been there. I think we have nothing to worry about. I think that with her in office, I think we'll see a brighter future. I think we'll start to see, some more national policy that protect our community.
Yeah. I mean, Kamala, she marks all the boxes for me, you know? I mean, the fact that reproductive rights are something that cisgendered white men decide, right, is just freaking beyond me, What do you feel about, the stupid Trump attacks? Like, this moron the other day, what did he say? He goes, "Oh, and now she's black?" Oh my God!
You know what? I hate the fact that people are falling for this too. Some people, some media outlets are falling for this. You can't just make up being black. Stop. I am an Afro-Latino. I can't all of a sudden say, "Oh, I'm black." I'm black. That's who I am. That's my existence. That's the life I live. Listen, you can't just all of a sudden. I mean, yes, she's tan, yes, she's fair skinned, but she's mixed, right? Mm-hmm. She's Indian, Southeast East Asian, and she's black. Yeah. Her father came from Jamaica. Do I need to educate people?
No, but you do.
Her father's ancestors came from where else? Africa. Right? Where did black people in America come from? Africa. There's no surprise. Yeah. So she grew up as a black young lady. She was a part of the Oakland when the schools were segregated. She had to be bused because she was dark. She was black. And let me remind America of the rule that we, as people of color, did not initiate. But back, 200 plus years ago, the one-drop rule.
Mm-hmm. If you had one drop.
Well, you had one drop. You were black. There were so many biracial kids back then who were born because of slavery, and their slave owners ended up, having sex with raping and doing whatever.
Yeah.
And it was the one drop rule. So you didn't get the white privileges you had that one drop. They looked at your hair, they looked at your, your eyes, they looked at your nose to determine whether you're black or not. And then you're black. You didn't have the same privileges as white Americans. So don't all of a sudden say that she's Southeast Asian. She was black. She was bust because of her race.
Yeah.
And she has a black father. Look, you look at all the photos. It is clear as day that she's had pictures with her black side of the family. She's had pictures with her East Asian side of the family. She's both of those things. Like, that's what we call intersex. She has intersectionalities. And so it just frustrates me a lot when people start to call out people's race, and question her race. She's a black person, period. She went to Howard.
Period.
She joined...
That's an HBICs. Period.
HBCU, yes.
Yeah.
She joined all African-American sororities. I will tell you this about black sororities and black fraternities. Like, they're very strict. They have very strict standards. And one of them is being a part of the community, being a part. So, I just hate that the media has spent some time on this and questioning this woman.
Well, remember Obama?
Obama too. Like, I mean, this is just ridiculous. The reality is, well, we live in America, right? The place where there's all this like melting pot, right? Mm-hmm. There's all this intersectionality, right? Like, I mean, I call myself an Afro Latino, right? Like, but the reality is, my grandmother was Norwegian, right? God bless her soul. She,
you don't get more white than that.
Like, hello, but like, so like, I mean, we all are mixed. We all have all these things in our. But I cannot deny who I am.
Yeah.
The skin color tells me who I am.
Exactly.
The skin color tells me how America judges me. Mm. And the skin color tells Kamala how America has judged her in the past.
Yeah.
Yep. So I just hate it. It's nasty. It's divisive. But Trump is just placating his audience.
Yeah, that's his rule book. That's his book, right?
That's his playbook.
Yes.
But like, it's not going anywhere. And what I love more is that all types of people are starting to like fight back against this. And it's been led by black women who said, "Sister, we got your back."
Listen,
44,000 women led the charge, right? Led the charge. Yep. And now we're seeing all these other subgroups like organize and mobilize for her. But these black women said, "We got your back."
And they were the ones who started it. And I will say again, I just got chills, okay? Black women will save our freaking lives again, okay? Black women will save democracy, all right? That is literally what I'm saying right here, right now, all right? They started the call, and then even the freaking white dudes started a call, right? Literally, I'm not even calling them white dudes. That's their name.
That's their name.
White dudes for Kamala, okay? And then it was Latinos, and then it was women catless, childless cat ladies for Kamala.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? So she's got everybody excited. She got everybody amped, You see all these young people being interviewed, and all of a sudden they were like, this old guy Biden, I can't relate to him. He doesn't speak to me. I'm not voting. F it. To... Okay. Yes. Yeah. Now I'm in the game.
I love it. I mean, she has these hotties for Kamala, and she had, that one. What's her name? Oh my God, Megan Thee Stallion.
Oh,
right?
yes.
What I love about Megan Thee Stallion, she got a lot of critique, but like in a follow-up concert after she came out in a rally for Kamala, she said, "Listen, I'm going to tell you what Kamala stands for." And I loved it because she educated her audience. She says, here are the policies that Kamala stands for. And then she proceeded to say, now let's get hot, right? But like, she's rallied so many Gen Zers, right? And all these young people, right?
A stadium full of her freaking people, fans.
Her fans. And we know people love Megan Thee Stallion,
yes, they
right?
do.
Like, my son loves her. Like, love her. But like, she's motivated and engaged in so many different young people and so many different audiences.
And she doesn't have to.
She doesn't have to, but she's out there doing it.
Yes.
And this is what Kamala has done for our democracy. And she's done for America. Like, she's brought in a new energy. This feels like Obama-ish in 2008. Remember the Yes We Can and, the installation of hope in our democracy again. That's what Obama did in 2008. It's the same feeling. And my son, he's 11, going to be 12 this year. And my nephew is 12, going to be 13. They've asked questions about this, right? They're like, we have conversations at the dinner table. We have a new rule, no technology, so no TV, no phones, but we sit down and talk. But this has been our conversation. It's been about politics.
I love that.
Like, about politics.
Yeah.
About like my son asking questions, and so it's exciting time. This election is going to be one of those transformational elections in our history. It's going to go down in our record books.
Yeah.
And it's exciting.
And I know that every time that there's an election, we say this election is so important, right? But this one is on a whole other level, I believe. I mean, it's like, it really is like, Kamala says it herself, right? Do you want to look for the future or do you want to go back in time?
Yeah. I mean, it is that sort of election.
Project 2025. Edward, like I'm having fights with people on social media about that. They don't believe me that there's 900 pages of shit getting rid of OSHA, getting rid of FEMA, getting rid of the National Weather Service. We just had hurricanes here in South Florida.
No,
people don't believe that this exists.
It is a blueprint for the way in which a Donald Trump presidency would be implemented. And so it is pretty clear. Even in Project 25, they have the first 180 days. And what does that look like? It is a clear blueprint. And Donald Trump himself, last year, I know he's trying to walk back from it, last year was at the Heritage Foundation, and the Heritage Foundation is the architect behind Project 2025, and 100 plus of his advisors and former staffers are part of this. He was at the Heritage Foundation telling everyone, this is going to be the blueprint for how we operate. This is going to be about our platform. So people need to take this serious, because if this man gets elected, he will actually implement this project. He will actually implement the plans in this project. And so this is really, really, really serious. And people say, well, we have a democracy and we have checks and balances. Well, we do have a system of checks and balances. However, if Donald Trump wins, I fear that he will take the Senate, he will maintain the House, and he will have the Supreme Court. So therefore, there is no balance, right?
Balance is over.
The balance is over, right? Because you typically have one of the other bodies, right? Because we have three bodies, right? The president, the executive, you have the judiciary, and then you have the legislative, right? You typically have one of the bodies that's of the opposite party that can check the other party, right? We won't have that if Donald Trump wins, right? Because he already has a Supreme Court. He has a supermajority there that has just ruled in his favor, you know, time after time again. And so my fear is that this really is people need to take this election serious, because if he wins, he will win the Congress, right? And then he'll be able to do what he wants.
Yeah.
And he'll be able to implement Project 2025. And there is an ad, I love this, down in Miami Lakes, where there's an ad that's comparing him to Fidel Castro as a dictator. And I think that that's pretty accurate. And I know there's lots of criticism out there from our people, the Cubans. Yeah. I'm sure your wife's family is probably saying, what are you doing? Like, he's not Fidel, whatever. But it is true. And I'm not calling him a communist, but I'm calling him a dictator.
A dictator, for sure. For sure. Next, RuPaul's Drag Race. Let's do some more fun stuff. RuPaul's Drag Race OG, Shannel, recently spilled some tea about one episode of All Stars 9. She revealed that a lengthy critique from RuPaul, who went off on her for half an hour, was cut from the show. During the clarity-based non-elimination episode, the queens recreated scenes from campy movies with RuPaul. Despite Shannel's effort, RuPaul felt she didn't connect during the challenge. At a Roscoe's Tavern viewing party, Shannel shared that Ru's pep talk was more like a pep shout, lasting much longer than shown. When RuPaul went off on Shannel on RuPaul's Drag Race for 30 minutes and they cut it, what are we all talking about? I guess it wasn't that good then if she went off. I mean, it's RuPaul going off on somebody. That's always good TV, no?
Yeah, it's good drama. I don't know why they cut it, but they probably cut it because RuPaul, just trying to put myself in RuPaul's shoes, which I'm not, but but RuPaul probably really did go in on her. And it was probably really meant for her to, it wasn't for that how do you say it? Sensationalization of the television, right?
Yeah.
It was more about,
this is for
you. I'm saying this because I'm really giving you feedback as a person. Because again, as you said, RuPaul, it's good TV, right? RuPaul eating somebody out and really going ham on them, right? But I really think that perhaps this was really for her, and really for her to reflect on, and not for her to just, this is what happened to me, and kikiing about it, right? But it was really for her to take this serious.
Yeah.
Really good, valuable feedback.
Shannel was old school, right? Because I think she was one of the first queens on the show, and then she came back all these seasons later to be on Drag Race and do pretty well. Did you like All Stars?
It was all right.
It was all right.
Yeah, it was all right.
I think the last All Stars, I was blown away. Everybody was kicking ass. It was holy crap. With this one, and them not letting people go, maybe I just need that kind of negativity as part of my shows or what? But
it makes the drama, right?
Right?
Makes it
they're
fun.
all still there.
Yeah. It makes it fun. It also makes you want to watch again because you're oh my God, who's gonna be eliminated?
Yes.
Who's gonna get kicked off?
Yeah.
So it was all right this year.
Yeah, it was all right. And and they raised some money for incredible charities, and that was awesome. Vanjie's one of my favorites, right? When she was on top 3, I was like, what is going on here, right? Because she's not that great, right? She's, she just reminds me of some of my friends from the Bronx, right? So she's just silly. She reminds me of a drag Cardi B. She says the most random shit, and she's just fun to look at, and she wears a leotard everywhere she goes, and she's pretty, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But
That's it.
But that's
Yeah,
it.
That's it.
But that's
yeah.
it. The FayWhat Show is part of one of the largest LGBTQ plus media companies in America, and Hotspots Magazine has been documenting the LGBTQ plus experience for 40 years. Happening Out Television Network has been bringing you daily LGBTQ plus news, talk shows, and more for 4 years. In the same model of PBS and NPR, we are a nonprofit 501c3 organization whose mission is to educate and serve the LGBTQ plus community. Next, at the FayWhat Show, we need to help my gay boys. And in our segment called Dear Fay, I provide my expert lesbian knowledge and my vast experience as a living, breathing gay boy in a lesbian's body to help my fellow gay boys. This week, Albert, which is not his name, sent me an email. You ready, Ed?
I'm ready.
Okay.
Yeah.
Dear FayWhat and Cutie next to you. My partner and I have been talking about bringing a third person into the bedroom for a while. We hit our 5-year mark recently and decided to finally give it a try. Both of us were excited as it seemed like the next logical step in our sex life as a couple. You wouldn't think it would be that complicated, except apparently we both have completely different ideas about who this guest should be. He likes someone nerdy, talkative, twink types, and I'm more into a mysterious, manly man. Anyway, we've talked about the various people we know in our lives who might be good candidates to approach, but every time I suggest someone, he is totally against him, and vice versa. Last weekend, we decided to go to the manor and point out guys we both might be into. Every time I pointed to someone, he'd veto my pick. And when he suggests someone, I had no interest in his choice either. It was almost comical. I'm not sure what we should do. We both want to explore together, but are not on the same page about who to do it with. Signed, Albert. Have you ever been in that situation?
No.
No,
I am
straight up.
not down for it. I'm a little old school when it comes to this. I feel like when I'm with somebody, you are my person, you're my partner, you're my lover, and I don't believe in inviting another person in the bedroom. I think that it just brings a whole bunch of potential chaos into a relationship. I've seen relationships where people have done this and it's not ended well. And so I'm just not, I'm not for it.
Yeah, no, and to boys that do it, please, if everybody's on the same page, if communication is set and you both agree on who's your third, then please, if it keeps your couplehood better, if it works for you, go for it. Like Edward, unfortunately, I tried this in past relationships and I got left. Yeah. Okay, like the two girls left me in the middle of Hollywood, California, right? But I deserved it because I was the one who invited this third person.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So I invited the chaos into a bed that was totally fine.
Right. And I think to your point, Faye, if people are secure in a relationship and they feel like, they want to open it up and go for it, have at it. I think that's the beauty of like being in our community is that we get to make these decisions and we get to do it, right? There's no judgment. I just find that it just, story after story that I've heard from friends and others that it just hasn't worked. I've heard of so many stories where, all of a sudden one partner goes and starts to sneak around because they've enjoyed having that other person in the bed. They got a taste of it. Or, I literally, right before I moved down here, I lived in a town called Poughkeepsie, New York. And my neighbors, I lived in a gayborhood, right, in Poughkeepsie, where I lived in a horseshoe, well, all the gay couples or whatever. And so a couple lived 10 doors down from me, and they had been together for like almost 20 years. They got married in Canada even before it was legal in the United States. And they finally opened their relationship up. And then what does one of the partner do? They go off with a 22-year-old young guy and literally upend their life. They had a house that they paid off with their cake baking company. So they ruined their business. They were bakers.
God, this story's getting sadder and sadder.
Listen, they were bakers. They had a house that was paid off because they paid it off with their baking business. They had a strong, solid relationship. They had a dog grooming business. They had all these things together. So they ended up splitting, right? And then so one partner left with the 22-year-old and what does the 22-year-old do? They end up inviting another person into their bedroom, and the 22-year-old boy just jumps ship.
Leaves with the new person.
And then leaves the guy pretty much destitute because he lost everything in the divorce.
Business, the house, and the marriage.
He lost everything because he was the one that sort of fled out in a relationship. So he ended up giving it to his ex, and then now he is just left with nothing. And so, not that this happens all the time. There's some people who do this. They open up their bedrooms and they do it successfully, and that's great. I just always worry, and especially with a couple who their selection of men is so different. I worry about the implications of bringing anybody in because all of a sudden, once they do agree on somebody, it's likely not going to be person that they both agree with.
Yeah.
So one of them is going to like that person more than the other because they clearly have different tastes.
Completely.
And so what does that do, and how does that open up the relationship? And so I worry about the slippery slope that happens, because once you open it up and you have that little fun,
Can't close it. You can't close that latch anymore.
It's hard to close it.
Yeah.
And you get that one taste, and then you're like, you want more.
And you want more, and you can have the understanding and all that, but you know how we are. If we think we can get away with something, we try to get away with it. So,
That's
like,
very
why
true.
entice? Like, why even put it in front of them, right? Like, why give them the opportunity to fuck up? That's what, you know, that's what I'm saying. And maybe it's the universe telling you something. If both of you can't decide on one person, maybe you should just let it go for a couple of months and revisit it, like maybe next year or something. Just because maybe it's a godsend that you haven't been able to both agree on one person. You know, I just
perhaps too. Maybe you want to mix things up in the bedroom. Maybe you're not mixing it up enough, and so like there's a lot of different things that you could do in a bedroom, right? Maybe you want to introduce toys, or maybe you want to
role
introduce
play or something, or maybe get an escort. Maybe if you guys can pay for the third person, then that way you get your taste, and then maybe it's not something that you want, but the person's paid for. So once they're done, they're done,
and they go on about their business. That's it,
right?
Yeah,
we just solved your problem, Albert.
There you go.
You see, we just solved your problem. Good luck, Albert. And if you do find that third, even if you buy him, send pictures.
Yes.
Thanks.
Videos.
Videos. Oh my God, what was I thinking? Thank you, Ed. You see, if you have a problem, send it on over to us and we'll definitely help. Send it on over to FayWhat@happeningout.com. Thank you for the email, Albert, and good luck. All right, Mr. Edwards. So when is your kid leaving?
Next week.
Oh, okay,
so
okay.
He's going to get ready for school. So we're going to go back up to New York, and we're going to get him ready for school. He's amassed a lot of stuff already. So
I can imagine. You might want to send the stuff ahead.
I know. So he leaves next week, unfortunately. So it's been a great time with him, and he'll be back. He wants to come back, but he does want to go back home to New York. It's grandma, grandpa there. You know, it's all of his cousins there. My sisters and brothers are all up there. All the kids are up there. And so that's the one missing part about him being here in Florida, is that our family network is all up in New York.
It's all up there.
And so, and he misses his grandma and grandpa. Like, you know, when they came for the gala, he was so excited, and you know, he loved being with them. He loves being with grandpa. Grandpa does things with him that he never did with me growing up, because my father had 12 kids, of course. But but anyhow, so so it's gonna be sad, but it's gonna be great for him. I'm looking forward to it. He's going to middle school.
Wow.
So, but I think he's going much more confident after the summer. We've had so many talks about middle school and the challenges that he has. And so he's looking forward to it. I think it'd be good for him.
Well, let me give you some kudos on being an exemplary dad. You know, those phone calls, those conversations are so important, especially at this age. This is such a pivotal age, right? And this is the age where most parents don't talk to their kids, right? And their kids don't want to talk to their parent because they're going through puberty and their bodies are changing and they don't know what they like, you know? So to have that open conversation with him is beautiful, that he could just call you from New York and go, hey, this is what's going on, Dad.
No,
you know?
him and my nephew. My nephew, like, so this is so funny. My nephew.
They're like brothers, basically.
Yeah. And so my nephew, his voice has been cracking all summer.
No!
I've been there to support him and talk to him about things. And, you know, he's going through his little thing, one of his changes, and he's getting taller as ever. He's way taller than me already. He's like 5'11", and he's only going to be 13. So, but it's been great to have him because we've had those moments together as well. And so I feel like, you know, both my boys, because I call both of my boys, they have somebody to call.
Yeah.
You know? And they're already talking about girls or whatever and liking girls. And, you know, my nephew, aka my son, he's my son basically because I take care of him too. But he's 13, he's gonna be 13, and he found a girl down here that he met on Snapchat, and he's been talking to her all summer. So I'm like, boy, I got scared actually. Like, honestly, I got a little scared. I'm like, oh my God. Like, what am I to do? But I'm like, whatever.
Did they see each other?
No, they didn't see each other.
Okay.
But they were just talking on
Snapchat. No, that's so cute.
Like, I was nervous. And so I fearful my son is going to learn from him and have that same thing go on this year. So anyhow, I'm prepared.
It's coming.
It's coming.
No, but I'm saying, like, what is it? Game of Thrones bullshit. Winter's coming. It's coming for you.
Yeah.
And you're ready, honey. And you're ready. And you're an awesome dad. And I'm just so happy that you got this summer with them and that they got to see your world. And your world ended up being their world for a summer. Like, that's just a beautiful thing.
It's fun. It was fun. It was
you know? Now go back home and go to school.
Yeah. Let me go have fun now.
Oh my God. I love you, Edward. Thank you for always being there with me and for showing your beautiful chest.
I feel very...
He feels fat today.
Body dysmorphia. Only because this summer, like, I haven't really worked out because I was with the boys. So, you know, I'll get back to it though.
I know. Why? I know. Okay? Just look at him. Yeah. All right. I love you, Edward. Mwah.
Love you.
Thank you for being you.
My pleasure.
Thank you, Edward Summers, for joining me in bed. God, he's so hot. I just don't get it. I don't know. I guess if I was straight, then he would have to be straight. Yeah, a lot of things would have to change. But anyway, I love him. Did you know that the Happening Out Television Network studios are located at Sunshine Cathedral Square, which also houses Sunshine Cathedral, the world's largest queer church right here in Fort Lauderdale. We broadcast their Sunday service every week at 10:30 a.m. Before I say goodbye, let me remind you that Hotspot's Happening Out is celebrating its 40th anniversary later this year. And to celebrate, we are cruising, baby. No, really, I mean a cruise. I'll be hosting the cruise. Watch this. The Margaritaville at Sea Hotspot's Happening Out 40th Anniversary Weekend Cruise is December 6th through the 9th, 2024. Join me as your personal host on the 4-day weekend cruise from just $189. Free transfers, free upgrade from inside to ocean view cabins, special parties, dining and events for this cruise to the Bahamas are all included. I invite you to join me for the South Florida Party Cruise of the Year. Get more information by going to happeningout.travel/FayWhat. And join me today on the 40th Anniversary Weekend Cruise with just $49 deposit. It's 5 o'clock somewhere, baby, and we are going to put our toes in the sand. Bon voyage! Show. I hope that you had fun. Thank you so much to Edward Summers for joining me in bed. I'm really passionate about trying to connect the L and the G in our LGBTQ plus community. It's often hard for us girls, but if we believe we are one strong community, then we must support all the letters of our LGBT and Q plus. We open every show with a nod to Mary Tyler Moore and That Girl's Marlo Thomas. This show is dedicated to a strong LGBTQ plus community. I just encourage you to be a little bit kinder, a little bit funnier, and embrace our tremendous diversity because it really is what makes us so damn strong. Until then, make sure you follow me on all social media outlets, Facebook, IG, TikTok, YouTube. You know the drill. Follow FayWhat. And since you're always on the go, you can listen to the FayWhat Show wherever you listen to your podcast app. Just search the FayWhat Show. Until next Monday, world, at 9 a.m. live or anytime on demand. I'm FayWhat, and I'm #thatgirl. I wish you a week full of sunshine and rainbows. Stay gay.
Rainbows, gay boys, #that girl. Sunbeams, drag queens, L-word. Is that girl the girl of all our dreams? She's everything that every girl should be. Aqua, South Beach, #that girl. Pride-filled, tea dance, Wilton. Is that girl Latina Linda, but she's universal too. If you find a girl to love.
So, did you enjoy the show? I know you did. So make sure to click subscribe so you won't miss any of the events, news, or interviews right here on the FayWhat show. Ring the bell at the bottom of the screen, right there, so you'll be alerted every time we're live. You can also click on the Happening Out Television Network logo so you can see all of the shows on the most diverse LGBTQ plus media network. Find out just what we're doing to bring the L and the G together right here on the FayWhat show. Get the week started with me.